Essential questions are considered by many to be the heart of powerful teaching because they promote learning for understanding rather than just rote memorization. The term essential questions was coined by Wiggins and McTighe, who wrote a book called Understanding by Design. They describe a planning process as a design process. You might have heard essential questions called rationales, enduring understandings, critical questions, or perennial puzzlers. They're all the same thing, and the question of how this relates to differentiated instruction is answered in a book called Integrating Differentiated Instruction and Understanding by Design. And in fact, Jay McTighe and Carol Ann Tomlinson wrote this book together, Carol Ann Tomlinson being a leader in the field of differentiated instruction. And they feel that at the heart of the planning process for powerful teaching is teaching toward understanding with a foundation of questions that count. Wiggins and McTighe have what I feel is a nice model for looking at how knowledge can be categorized. To me, it parallels somewhat the notion of tiered objectives, the progressive continuum of objectives described by Benjamin Bloom. So they would say that as you consider your planning process, as you start to think about a unit plan, as you all will be doing, you should think about the different kinds of knowledge you'll be addressing in the plan. The first level, the outer level, and what Benjamin Bloom would call a lower order objective is that knowledge that's worth being familiar with. It's something you could look up in your textbook, in an encyclopedia, on Wikipedia. And a little bit more higher order, perhaps at the application level, is skill-based knowledge. So you probably need the first tier of knowledge, that worth being familiar with, in order to develop a skill. These types of understandings are things that are important to know and be able to do. And then the core of knowledge are those enduring understandings that we can't really look up in a textbook. They have to be uncovered, considered, and investigated. So as some examples of these types of knowledges, that worth knowing versus an enduring understanding, an example I give is from social studies, which is my field. What was the Cold War? And a progressively more complicated question, what events led to the Cold War? And finally, the highest order of synthesis, in what ways was the Cold War justifiable? So you might say, according to Bloom's taxonomy, that the first is knowledge, the second is an analysis question, and the final is an evaluation or synthesis question. In fact, this is the very type of question to which Wiggins and McTighe refer when they talk about an enduring understanding. They also give us some idea of how to figure out whether a question is an enduring understanding. They give us 4 filters, and you can run any question that you write through these 4 to determine how close it is to an enduring understanding or an essential question. Is it hard to answer? Does it require research? Is it a question that you really can't look up in a book? So is the Cold War justifiable? Is just such a question? Is it a big idea that has value beyond the classroom? So questioning the nature of war, for example, in social studies is certainly something that we don't have an answer to, but we continue to explore today outside the classroom in our world. To what extent does it reside at the heart of the discipline? So that filter asks you to think about whether or not those who are experts in the field still consider this type of question, and indeed, certainly for historians and political scientists, that's true. And finally, to what extent does it offer potential for engaging students? I've attached in Module 4 a list of sample essential questions and some websites, so keep exploring and good luck.